Hey everyone, welcome back to the Moreno Show. I hope it finds you well. What a beautiful Sunday we are having right now, and I hope you are experiencing it the same way. Guys, Lara Trump just dropped a really short interview with Gary Brecka, a human biologist, and I loved the conversation that they had regarding RFK Jr, Trump, making America healthy again, and as well as just living a healthier life. I really believe that this is one of the most important videos on the internet today, and I just think you're really going to like it. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Also, guys, if you like having conversations like this, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does go a long way. Okay, check this out.
Okay, so Gary Brecka, we're so excited to sit down with you today. I don't even know how to address you, a health guru, a biohacker. Tell me what it is you do and how you ended up doing all of this, because so many people turn to you to learn how to improve their health.
Yeah, well, by schooling, I'm a human biologist. You know, my undergraduate degrees were in biology, my postgraduate degrees are in human biology. But for years, I worked in a niche market of life insurance, trying to predict mortality to the month. So we used big data to try to decide how many more months people had left on Earth. And what emerged from this data was that the reason why people are not living healthier, happier, longer, more fulfilling lives were for what we called modifiable risk factors, meaning things that they could change in their lifestyle that would permanently change the trajectory of their life.
Why do you feel like now people are finally starting to say, you know what, maybe things haven't been working the right way. Maybe there are some major changes our country can make. And what is it you would like to see happen over the next 4 years with President Trump, with RFK Jr. in these leadership roles to change America and make us healthy again?
Well, I think you had a couple of things come together like a perfect storm, right? We emerged from the pandemic, and no matter what side of the pandemic you were on, pro-vaccine, anti-vaccine, your life was touched by the pandemic. And I think it woke people up and they said, you know what, I need to take my healthcare choices into my own hands. We're at a crisis point in America. You know, 77% of our military-aged men and women don't qualify for military service due to poor health. You've got 13% of our teens have fatty liver disease. We have the highest rates of childhood cancer in recorded history. We just have to get back to what God gave us, not what man makes us. Getting the poisons out of our food supply. I'm super excited about Bobby Kennedy and your father-in-law's union. I mean, people from polar opposite ends of the spectrum unifying over children and health and healing. And I just find it odd that anybody can be on the opposite side of that coin.
I think a lot of people have been under the impression that the way you cure a disease is to take a drug. But I think we're coming upon a time in our society where maybe we're going to hopefully phase a lot of that out. Do you feel like that is also part of the MAHA movement?
I think that's a huge part of the MAHA movement. You know, when I interviewed Callie Means, one of the things that he said that always just sat with me was, there's nothing more profitable than a sick child. And as sad as that statistic is, it's a statement of fact, right? We're starting children earlier and earlier and earlier on the hamster wheel. So I think this whole MAHA movement is about getting to the root cause, getting physical education back in the public school system, getting the processed foods out of our children's diets, you know, getting the highly inflammatory foods out of our children's diets. I mean, they deserve to thrive. And that's what I think really laid the perfect foundation for Bobby Kennedy to come in and really take control of a narrative that people are willing to hear.
President Trump has promised to restore the American dream in this country. A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person only has one. 60% of our population has only one dream, that they get better.
If you look at what he's really talking about and describe the MAHA movement, we're talking about getting poisons, herbicides, insecticides, pesticides, preservatives, things that our body doesn't recognize, that cause chemical reactions on our body that make us sicker. And so who's against getting those things out of the food supply? This is how you get a food pyramid that says that Lucky Charms is more nutritious than grass-fed steak.
It's crazy.
Right.
I think something else that people have heard about, they've heard it a lot through Bobby Kennedy. He was very outspoken about it. Seed oils.
Yes.
For people who say, I don't know what a seed oil is, but I constantly hear about it, what is that?
So seed oils are your canola, rapeseed, sunflower, safflower, vegetable oils. And very often it's not, people think we're attacking the plant. I'm not attacking the sunflower. I'm attacking the distance from the plant to the table. So when you take a plant like a rapeseed, which is canola, and you put it in a commercial press and it comes out gummy, and you degum it with hexane, which is a known neurotoxin, and then you take that degummed oil and you heat it to 405 degrees. This turns it rancid. It putrefies it. And then we stick a heart healthy label on it and we say that these polyunsaturated fatty acids are part of a heart healthy diet. That is complete nonsense. They're part of a heart inflammatory diet. Inflammation is the root of all evil. Here are the 5 oils you need in your life. An olive oil at room temperature. You can cook in coconut oil, grass-fed butter, ghee butter, or coconut oil. These are oils that don't denature at high temperatures. Use an olive oil or an avocado oil at room temperature and get the rest of those seed oils permanently out of your life.
What would you say to an adult in the United States right now who says, I don't even know where to start? What are your top do's for somebody to lead a healthier life?
First of all, pay attention to your sleep. Sleep is our human superpower.
I won't tell you how much sleep I get on an average night, Gary, because you'll be horrified.
Don't tell
Oh
me.
my gosh.
But I'll fix it for you.
Okay.
Consistency in bedtime and getting on a good circadian rhythm is probably the single biggest thing that you can do to improve the outcome of your day the next day. Do a contrast shower before you go to bed. Get in hot water, let it run in the back of your neck, step out of that stream of water, turn it cold, step into that cold stream of water. I know, guys, just deal with it for 30 seconds, break the catecholamine cycle in the brain, dry off, and when you climb into bed, make your room as cold and dark as you possibly can.
I do that.
Stay off your screens at night. If you have to be on your phone at night, turn the red light setting on your phone. Blue light raises your cortisol, which is a waking hormone. Right? So at night, we're having light come into our eyes that says, hey, wake up, when we're actually trying to go to sleep.
And what about eating wise? What would you say you should get this out of your diet or put this in your diet immediately today to see a difference?
Let's boil diets down to the absolute facts, right? Look at the blue zones. If you look at all of the blue zones around the world, what was the continuity between all of those diets? They were all whole foods. No one was eating a highly processed diet and living a long lifetime. So the secret to living a long life is eating whole foods. Meat, fish, chicken, eggs, vegetables, coconut oil, olive oil, nuts, avocados, whole foods in their whole form. The highly processed diet is what sends our cellular biology into a tailspin.
So for people who maybe have a desk job, who are sedentary throughout the day, what would you tell them to do?
You don't have to have 90 minutes in the morning to move your day around. I know there's a lot of busy moms and dads and career professionals out there that get out of bed and they're on the move as soon as they get out of bed. 15-minute walk then, 15 minutes after lunch, 15 minutes after dinner. That little bit of mobility helps pull the glucose out of your bloodstream, improve your insulin sensitivity, and that alone is one of the leading causes of metabolic syndrome, and it's completely preventable with lifestyle changes.
Let me ask you about the word biohacker, because I think a lot of people have heard that word. You call yourself a biohacker.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
You know, it's trying to do more with less. It's like, what is the best thing I can do for my cellular biology? And there's so many gadgets and gizmos out there that, you can get paralysis of analysis. The best biohacking devices mimic what we get from Mother Nature.
So finally, with the MAHA movement, with AI kind of up and coming, I feel like we're in a space where people are saying, I don't know, if we're healthier and we have the ability to utilize AI in a specific way, could we see the longevity of humankind expand?
There's no question that artificial intelligence, big data, and early detection are the greatest 3 inventions in terms of the longevity of humanity. I believe if you're alive in 5 years, it will be your choice whether or not you want to live to 120, potentially 140 years old.
Wow.
There we go. Holy smokes. That was the whole conversation with Lara Trump and Gary Brecka. I thought it was fantastic, but now I want to go into some of my personal pools, some of my personal takeaways from this conversation. And for one, I got to say, like early on, Gary Brecka says this one thing that really had an impact on me. He says that we have to go back to what God gave us and not what man makes us. And I got to be honest, like earlier this year, in the beginning of this year, my wife decided to go on a fast and cut soda from her diet completely. And in that process, she just had a new profound appreciation for water. Like water just tasted so delicious for her. And in that moment, I had this thought, which is like man made soda, but God made water. And it's like these things that God actually gave us through this earth. Like the actual material here is what we were made for, what we were designed for. And as Gary was talking, I even went like just a little bit, just a little step further. And I wouldn't normally share this, but it is Sunday. I'm feeling really good. And in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 15 through 17, I love that some of the first instructions that God actually delivers to man has to do with food, what we're designed to eat and what we are designed not to eat. This is fascinating. I really have never seen the scriptures this way, but this is fascinating. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it. Check this out. The Lord God placed the man in the Garden of Eden to tend and watch over it. But the Lord God warned him, "You may freely eat the fruit of every tree in the garden, except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat its fruit, you are sure to die." So, just thinking about this very abstractly for a second, some of the first instructions that God delivers to humans has to do with food. And this isn't accidental. This isn't a slip up. This is actually because that man's relationship to what we consume has a direct impact on the quality of life that we end up living. This is fascinating. So I just love that. And I'm in complete agreement on Gary here when he says we have to go back to what God gave us and not what man makes us. Even in this book that I have back here, Callie and Casey Means, they really talk about um, spirituality in this way, in kind of what we consume in terms of like food and energy, and how it just has a really dramatic impact on our life. And I just think this is incredible. So I love that. And something else that I thought was really interesting in this conversation was early on, he also says, like, I don't understand who is against this. Like, I'm really excited about the union and unifying over this and unifying over our children and for health and healing. And I don't understand, like who's against this. I don't understand who's on the other side of this. And immediately I had this thought, which is like Democrats, like as if it's just a blanket statement. And we all know that's not really true. It's not just Democrats, really. Although it's kind of a simple um general statement, it's really more so just the Democrats who've been lied to and believe the lie. So it's like what Nicole Shanahan said a while ago whenever she was on stage with Tucker Carlson. She was talking about being a former Democrat, and she was like, I just believe the lie. And I don't want to attack Democrats because they're just believing the lie. And the DNC does such a good job of administering that lie to so many other people, but it's not like the normal Democrat isn't the person to blame. It's the system to blame, because all someone does is they just believe the lies. So it's like we got to give them grace for that. So I really believe that the people who are on the other side of MAHA, they're not on the other side of making America healthy again. And they're just believing the lies. So on this beautiful Sunday, I really want to emphasize this idea of grace, really. So I just thought that was really, really important to say. And I also love that they were talking about, like, there's this perfect storm of opportunity between RFK Jr. and President Trump. And to me, it gave me this overwhelming sense of gratitude, really. Like, this isn't normal. This wasn't supposed to happen. Like there's an argument to be made that like these guys were not supposed to be here, right? Like there were so many obstacles and challenges that would have allowed this to happen. Yes, there was RFK Jr.'s confirmation hearings, but even back with what happened on in the summer of July with President Trump in Butler, like there are so many miracles that really happened. And to me, it really is this perfect storm of opportunity that I'm just so grateful for. And I just really want to continue to live in that miracle. And you know what else I loved? I I'll share this real quick. I love that RFK Jr. just posted that he's in this afternoon, he's mountaineering above Coachella Valley. I thought this was incredible. Like, he's not just, talking about MAHA. Like, this really is MAHA. This is the personal responsibility of going out and exercising and taking part in those conversations. But it's also one of his something that he did his Secretary Kennedy account, whenever he was talking about, this outbreak, he actually discussed that, like, look at this. The CDC ended up updating their website with guidance on this outbreak. And I love that. Like, look at this. The the management is actually now including a physician administered outpatient vitamin A. This is crazy. So now we're moving from a world of, like, yeah, we're not just administering pills and tablets. No, we're actually talking about food. We're talking about vitamins. Like, these are, like, this is just an extraordinarily different conversation. And I was just talking about personal responsibility. And, like, yes, there is a personal responsibility that comes to, actually taking ownership for, like, what we consume with our bodies, taking ownership for, like, how much we're actually moving, make sure we are walking around, make sure we are exercising, and actually, being active in our day-to-day life. But also, it's like the conversations that end up happening and how we treat illness whenever they do arise. Even that is actually being different. Like, the fact that vitamin A is now being considered in terms of what we do to manage sickness. Like, this is MAHA. This is what we were talking about. We don't want something that just masks the problem. We want something that actually solves the problem. And I just think this is fantastic. And I think this is a really, really big win. And something else that I loved is near the end, Gary was talking about doing more with less. And I just love this concept of minimalism in a general, which is like, we don't really need to have like endless things to be happy. We just need to have good things. We need to have quality things. And I loved it. But what do you think about this? What did you get from this conversation? Please go ahead and let me know. I'd also love to tell you about my newest newsletter that came out a couple of days ago. I call it the Attention Empire: RFK Jr, Purple Cows, and New Order of Politics. And I thought this was a really, really great and timely conversation to be having right now. We talk about Republicans, we talk about Democrats, and we really just talk about the future. So if you'd love to be part of that conversation, I would really enjoy that. And guys, by the way, like, my newsletter is completely free to sign up if you want to just go ahead and sign up. But there's also a paid option if you really want to be part of the stories that we're telling, the ideas that we're sharing, and the conversations that we're trying to elevate and really bring to the world. You could absolutely become a paid member if you want to support that story, and I would really appreciate it. So anyways, that's the end of this video. I really hope it found you well. Please let me know what you thought about some of these conversations that we had. And I really do hope we have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday. Episode's over already. Geez, that was fast. Well, they say beautiful things do not last forever, but feel free to watch and listen to another one of these episodes if you're interested in those conversations as well. Also, this next part is huge. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never skip a beat. I also have a newsletter where we dive into the news, politics, and ideas that shape our future. If you're interested in signing up, I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.